If you're barely eating and still can't lose weight, I know how frustrating this is. The bad news is you may have unknowingly screwed up your metabolism using crash dieting methods. The good news is I know how to fix your metabolism so you can start losing weight again, all while eating more food, and you do this through a process called reverse dieting. So in this video, I'm going to explain what reverse dieting is and why you need one, how to do it, how long you should do it for, and how to know your metabolism's back in a good place. Okay, I want you to think back to the first time you ever tried to lose weight. I'm guessing it probably went pretty well. You may even thought, hey, that wasn't so bad. Even if I gain weight, no big deal. I know what to do now. I'll just do that. But then what happened? You came back, did the same thing as before, but now your body's not responding the same way. And every passing time you've done this, it's gotten harder and harder to lose weight. And the reason this happens is because your body has a self-defense mechanism against starvation. When you go on these aggressively low-calorie diets, your body doesn't realize there's plenty of food around right now. For all it knows, it's just like the early days where perhaps you were gonna go a long time without food and you didn't know when your next meal was gonna come. So if that was the case, if your body didn't slow down its metabolism to hang on to what little food you did get, you would starve to death really quickly. So you have to understand, your body doesn't care about looking good naked. It has one job and one job alone, and that's keep you alive. So if you keep going on these extreme starvation diets and you've done this more times than you can count, your metabolism is probably pretty trash at this point, and you just keep on yo-yo dieting, getting bigger and bigger. But the good news about these slowdowns in metabolism is it's not a permanent thing. You haven't damaged your metabolism, it's just suppressed from your dieting methods. And this is where reverse dieting comes in. Just like if you eat less calories, your metabolism slows down. If you eat more calories, your metabolism speeds up. However, with your metabolism so slow, you can't just eat a bunch of calories now, or it's gonna be a large surplus and you're gonna gain weight rapidly. So with reverse dieting, you more gradually increase your calories, and this way your body can keep up with this without it being a huge surplus, and you're able to get your calories and your maintenance calories back higher again without gaining unnecessary fat during the process. And this is how you're able to start getting your metabolism back into a better place, all while eating more calories. But to clarify what I mean there, I'm not saying as you increase calories, you should expect to lose weight. There are some rare cases where it does happen, but you certainly shouldn't expect it. And quite frankly, you should expect to gain a small amount of weight during this process, but it's for the greater good to be able to put your body back in a position to be able to succeed again. Understand, it's not just about metabolism. Your hormones are all out of whack too, and you need to get them back into a better place again for everything to work properly. Now, before I get into how to go about increasing your calories, I want to talk about a couple other things that you want to consider first. And with the exercise side of things, the best thing you can do here is regularly strength train. So unlike cardio, where you actually end up tapering it down some, and I'll talk about that at the end of this video, you want to utilize all these extra calories to put to good use with your strength training. It takes more calories to build muscle. It takes more calories to maintain the extra muscle that you do have. So it's quite frankly the best thing you can do for your metabolism, not to mention body composition. So I recommend training between 3 and 5 days per week. Whether you're cutting, building, reverse dieting, doesn't matter. Now, to know how to increase your calories, you do need to know what your current maintenance calories are, and you're not going to be able to use some sort of online calculator because remember, your maintenance calories is suppressed, so those equations are going to be completely irrelevant. So if you've already been tracking and not losing, you know that's your maintenance calories. However, if you haven't been tracking, this is very important. What you want to do is spend the next week, continue to eat the same way you've been eating, track it for 7 days, add up your total calories, divide it by 7. That is now your average calories per day and your current maintenance calories, because remember, your maintenance calories is a moving target. If you're not losing or gaining, then it's your maintenance calories. Okay, with that, let's go into how to increase your calories, and you're going to want to start with protein. So typically I don't care too much if you want to eat more carbs or fat, especially as your calories get higher. However, protein does make a big difference. It has a high thermic effect of food. It's going to fuel that muscle building to help build your metabolism. So even though you're not trying to lose weight right now, if you have some sort of goal weight in pounds, take that number and aim to eat that much of protein in grams. If that's too big of a jump right up front, as you increase calories, start with protein, then you could add more carbs and fats later. So to figure out how fast to increase calories, what you're going to do is you're going to start weighing yourself, and I want you to do it every single day in the morning, first thing before eating or drinking anything, as this is the most consistent time of the day. And you may hear that and kind of freak out a little bit, but trust me, this actually helps almost everyone create a better relationship with the scale. And the reason you want to do this is because if you just grab one snapshot in time, like a weekly weigh-in, your weight can fluctuate on a daily basis up to several pounds, and it has nothing to do with body fat. It's all water weight. So if you weigh yourself every day, then take an average of that week. Now you're going to compare that weekly average and consider that your actual weight. Now I don't want you to only look at weight. You want to take pictures and pay attention to measurements and how your clothes are fitting, because you can absolutely gain weight, but not much if any body fat. In fact, I've seen people hold steady or even increase their weight, but look dramatically better because muscle is powerful and it has weight. So after being on the same calories for a week, if you're maintaining your weight, I recommend around a 40 to 60 calorie increase. So for instance, if you're eating 1500 calories and you made a 50 calorie increase, now you're gonna eat 1550 calories daily. You can go up and down, it doesn't have to be the same every day, you just want the average to work out the same. If after that week you're actually gaining weight, you may wanna just kind of hold these calories and give it another week, or if you wanna keep the process going, you can make even smaller increases, even just maybe like 20 to 40 calories, just so it's something and at least keep the process going. And if you actually end up losing weight that week, you can actually increase faster now. So you can increase maybe around 50 to 100 calories for the following week. But with all of these things, you can actually go faster or slower. You just have to understand the trade-off is the faster you increase calories, the more likely you are to gain weight, but the faster you're gonna see improvements in your hormones, metabolism, how you feel and all that stuff. And the slower you increase calories, the less likely you are to gain weight, but the longer the process is gonna take. And one last thing before we get into how high your calories should get, you also wanna factor in adherence. A lot of people will stick with really low calories because they're worried about gaining weight. But if you have a low calorie target and you keep ending up binging because of it, then you're gonna be better off with the higher calorie target that you actually feel like is realistic and then you can hit than you are a lower calorie target that you keep blowing out and you actually average way more calories. Okay, how high should your calories get before you think about ending your reverse diet? And you know what? It's hard to give an exact number. What I can do instead is give you more signs that you should look for. Like for one, are you on an amount of food that you feel is filling and satisfied? Do you have good flexibility with your diet? In fact, one of the best signs I see is oftentimes you are so overly full that the thought of increasing your calories just makes you almost sick to your stomach because you're so dang full. Also, other things like how are your energy levels? How is your sleep? Recovery, mood. If all these things are in a good spot, that usually means you're in a pretty good place metabolically. But you also have to consider if you are planning on losing weight again, then you need room to be able to make an adjustment as well as have room to make some adjustments as you hit plateaus. So I usually recommend dropping your calories by around 20 to 25% when you start your diet. I have tons of videos on this. Let me know if you want one. So if you don't have room to make that adjustment plus some future adjustments around 10% each time, then you're gonna need to work on getting your calories higher so you have room to make those adjustments. Now, all that being said, this might be the most important part, even if you feel like you have all the signs that things are good. If you jump back into a calorie deficit too quickly, your body is not going to respond and you're going to undo your reverse diet and have to start over. So you got to give your body time to adapt to these higher calories first. I'm going to give you what I recommend based on experience with working with almost 600 clients now, which if you are looking for help with this process, there's a link to my website in the description. You'll fill out an application for online coaching. And I'd love nothing more to help you through the process. But this is just what I've seen to be pretty optimal ranges. So if you don't have a super long history of dieting, so let's just say for instance you have maybe a couple years to 3 or maybe 4 years, then you want to wait at least 6 months before going back into a calorie deficit again. And when I give you these time frames, I'm talking about time increasing calories and holding them as well. But also understand the longer you go, the better off you're going to be. And these minimums I'm giving you are just that. They're minimums. The more you err towards the minimum side, the more risk there is things aren't going to go well. So be patient and give your body plenty of time. Now, if you have a longer history of dieting, and we're talking more like maybe 5 to 10 years at this point, then you want to give your body some more time. And I recommend at least 9 months to a year just to really make sure you're in a good spot. And then if you're someone who's been doing this as long as you can remember, we're talking over a decade, possibly even multiple decades, spend at least a year to a year and a half on these higher calories and just letting your body get good and adapted. Trust me, if you try to rush too quickly, it's not going to work. And while I know you probably don't like this answer very much, you have to understand you got to start thinking big picture. Focus not on how you want to lose weight, but all the benefits that come with this. You're going to be able to enjoy more food. You're going to feel better. You're going to have better strength and energy. And this is a great opportunity to focus on other things like creating a healthy relationship with food, working on things like tying your self-worth to body image. So use this time to work on the mental stuff as well as your metabolism. And don't let your fear of weight gain stop you from doing what you know you need to do. Don't sacrifice your long-term goals for short-term gratification. Okay, there is one other thing you need to understand when it comes to going through a reverse diet, and that is especially if you've done a lot of cardio over the years, your body is good and adapted. So you want to taper that cardio down so you have room to make adjustments and increase cardio when it's time to cut again. So if you want to know more about how much cardio you should be doing during your reverse diet, then make sure you check out this top video up here, and I'll see you in that other video.